Hey, what's up guys? So for the longest time, one of the features that I've really wanted on the Valentine 1 is actually a dedicated frequency display. Well, Valentine has finally given it to us, sort of, in the form of a new concealed display called the Tech Display. This new display actually adds a frequency display, plus it's got a second V1 button over here on the side that adds some additional functionality as well, including giving the ability to log and recall different alerts, and to change the different display modes between the Tech Display and the V1 itself. Now, as far as the main benefits of having a frequency display, Valentine actually has a couple different examples listed on their website. Plus, I've done a video going over a bunch more examples that you can check out as well. And before I take a little break here for the holidays, let's go ahead and take a closer look now at this new V1 Tech Display. So diving right into it, here's a look at this new Tech Display. Now, compared to the original concealed display, you can see it definitely does look different. It's taller than before because they made room for the new frequency display at the bottom and then this new V1 button here. If we take a look at it here from the top, you can see that they've made this new one thinner than before, and they've also duplicated the volume buttons like we had on the V1 Gen2 itself. We've got the volume buttons there, but we didn't have it on the concealed display itself. Now, as far as the power cable, this actually has now been moved to the back. So it goes right there. On the previous concealed display, it actually plugged into the side, which limited your installation options. So the cable always had to come out the side here, right? But depending on how it was plugged into your car, that might not have always been optimal. So for that reason, they now have it installed here in the back. And the cable can now run down, and they've now set it up where the cable can run left or right. So now you've got options as far as how it can be installed in the car. Now, because this cable is thinner, it no longer fits with the traditional RJ, like phone jack looking cables, and so they've actually now used a new cable here. It's called a PicoFlex connector. It's a little funky looking. It looks like this, but the idea is you can just turn it around and then plug it into the back of the display here like that, and then you can just kind of run the cable down, or you can run it off at an angle like this if needed. Then to connect it to the V1, you're going to use V1's power adapter, which has two different power outputs. One, of course, is going to run directly to the V1, and then the second one is the accessory port, which runs to any different accessories, such as the Tech Display. Now, if you're using a traditional power cable, power only, or something like a mirror tap, shout out to John Boy. He's found that if you don't mind sticking a phone jack splitter off the side of the V1, you can actually do the split from there, and this display will also work in this configuration as well. And powering things up, let's go ahead and take a look at the display and its different functionality. So we'll go ahead and trigger an alert here real quick. You can see this is what it looks like. It tells us there's one bogey, K-band, full strength alert, it's muted, gives us the direction right there, and then the frequency right here at the bottom. This is definitely the cool new part here with this particular display. We can go ahead and fire a different radar gun, and you're going to see the frequency should go ahead and change on us, 24.152. Awesome. Nothing actually that new here. Now, a couple things that are new. First off, we've got this V1 button. This is pretty cool. This is going to allow us to go ahead and actually log some different alerts. So for example, if we want to log this signal, we can just press and hold this button here like that, and it's going to go ahead and log that. Then once the alerts are cleared, I can actually just press this button and cycle through all of my previously seen signals. I could just give this button here a quick tap, and it's going to go ahead and show me all the information about that signal. It does display pretty briefly and then goes away, but we've also got the option to display a bunch of other signals too. So if I've been logging some additional signals while I've been out driving, I can go and display them here like this, and so it can do up to 10 different signals, frequency, display, direction, etc. You do have to actually manually log the signals when you're driving. It's not going to automatically log every single one. I kind of wish that it did because I had a J out the other day. That J out was really quick. It displayed the K-band signal and then quickly disappeared. Too quick for me to go ahead and log the alert. But fortunately, I had JBV1 running, and that logs every single signal for me, and so I was able to go back and reference the app to remember the exact frequency of that signal. And so I think that the app functionality for logging all the different signals is better because it automatically logs everything, but it's kind of a cool feature here to be able to go back and just kind of review previous signals here like that. I haven't seen many other detectors have this built in without an app. I know Stinger lets you do some logging, but that's usually only for like debugging purposes and stuff. It's not really for the end user. Something else that you saw there at the end, if we go through, right there, it'll tell you the version of the Tech Display. Right now, it's version 1.000. I know in the forums, people have already been adding some requests for some features that they'd like to see added and whatnot. So it'd be cool to see like how this continues to improve and evolve over time. Now, another fun fact is that this frequency display is also going to be useful for when you get hit with laser. It'll actually display laser right there on the display itself. I'm actually curious. I haven't tried this yet, but can I log a laser alert? Looks like I can. That's pretty cool. So I'll let the laser alert go away real quick, and then now I'll just give it a quick tap. And yep, it'll actually display laser on screen as well. Now, the main feature, of course, is going to be the frequency display. And if we go ahead and get some signals here to show up here on screen, we'll just change the alert mode to all bogeys, and we've got some signals now that'll pop up here. you can see we've got the same information that's displayed here on both displays. It's going to be basically updating both of them here at the same time, but the big advantage, of course, is now you have the frequency display here for the primary signal, something that, of course, you don't have on the V1 itself. Very useful feature here to have with this new tech display. Now, something else that's kind of cool, we'll go ahead and switch modes. We'll put it back into advanced logic to go ahead and have it do some additional filtering and quiet things down. We also have the ability to have it choose which display is on. To do that, you just double press the V1 button here like this. So we'll press it once, and so you can see the display turned off on the V1 itself, but it's still on here on the tech display. We'll double tap it again, and you can see now it switches. The display is over here on the V1, but not on the tech display. And then the third option is going to be having it available here on both. That direct functionality is not something that we had available here on the regular concealed display because it didn't have this V1 button. It's something that maybe you could like mess around with the apps or something. But I like this additional control that we have here, plus having the volume buttons on top, which was missing from the regular concealed display. They've added it here to the new tech display. I do like this newer version that they've done. So I think this is a nice upgrade here compared to the previous concealed display. And for the longest time, again, I've been wanting V1 to give us a dedicated frequency display. And while it's not directly on the V1 itself, I'm really glad to see that they finally made it available as an option. And on the forums, of course, it's been a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of people excited because we've been wanting something like this for quite a while. It looks like V1 has finally listened and delivered. So a big thank you to Valentine for releasing something like this. I can tell that they've definitely been listening to consumer feedback, things like making it available to have the power cable actually run in different directions to give us more options for actually installing it in our car, flush mounting it, etc. And then last but not least, if you're running a V1 Gen 1, it turns out, well, the tech display is also compatible with the Gen 1s as well. The only caveat is you do need a newer V1 Gen 1 that has ESP built in, kind of like Bluetooth communication protocol. And if you do have a newer V1 Gen 1, we'll go ahead and plug it in and see what it does. So look at that, we're up and running here with the Gen 1. Let's go ahead and trigger a signal now. And there you go. You can see it shows up right here on screen, and we now have the frequency display working here connected to the Gen 1 as well, not necessarily just with the Gen 2. So a nice bonus for those of you guys who are running still the older V1 Gen 1s. And so finally, if you'd like to order a new tech display, they're available now from Valentine's website. I'll put a link in the video description to where you can pick one up. Yeah, that's a look here at this new V1 tech display.